Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. So today's episode on Forging Back to Basics, I'm going to be making two punches out of our coil spring. So one's going to be a square punch and the other one's going to be a round punch. So I hope you guys enjoy. I got the forge lid already. I'm just going to break this down, clean it up, take all the paint off. You never want to put painted stuff in your forge. So I'm going to take the paint off, straighten this out, and then I'll start the video on forging. Okay, thanks guys. So we're going to grab our 1/2 inch round spring steel, and both punches are going to start off the same, and we're going to be doing a square taper on the end. Now this taper is going to be kind of medium sized long taper. On this one I'm doing roughly about maybe a 2.5 inch to 3 inch taper. So we're just going to work that down. Every so often we're going to turn it 90 degrees. And yeah, we're going to turn it 90 degrees. And we're going to actually just keep on working that down. Now if you know that I'm taking a couple of heats to do this, a lot of this is because my anvil is bouncing around quite a bit. And also I'm using a little bit lighter hammer than I'm used to. So that is why you actually see me almost fighting with it. So I'm going to be addressing the anvil bouncing in a later video. But anyways, we're just going to continue working this down a little bit. Now here I'm just lengthening that taper just slightly a little bit. Yep, so I'm just lengthening the taper a little bit and working on trying to get that straight. Now roughly at the end, you roughly want to be left with somewhere around 1/8 of an inch. Now a lot of what you're going to leave at the end is going to be what size hole that you're going to be putting into the steel, or what you plan on using this for. So I'm going with roughly about 1/8 of an inch. We can work that down with the file afterwards, so it's not critical that you get that perfect. So here I am just straightening it out, trying to center it out the best I can. Take your time on this, make sure you got it nice and straight. It makes it a lot easier at the end to clean it up. And you want something kind of like that. Now with my square punches, I like to square off the back end. This helps a lot with the indexing when you're holding your punch. So I'm just gonna quickly with the square punch just put this in. This is optional, you don't have to do it, but I like doing this with my square punches. So here I'm just finishing up the squaring off, and I should be doing a little bit of straightening as well. So that's pretty well it for the square punch. We're just going to do a normalization cycle. So we're going to bring it up to temperature, and then we're just going to let it cool down fully in the air. And while we're waiting for that to cool down, we're going to start on the round punch. Now with the round punch, we're going to start off with the square taper, just like we did with the square punch. So I actually skipped over that step in this video. You've seen me square off the taper before, so I figured that you don't have to see it a second time. So like I said, I have the square taper already done. And now what we're going to do is just knock down the corners and bring this back to round. So we're going to first do it into an octagon. And I'm doing medium-sized blows here. I'm not trying to kill the thing, but I am trying to move those corners down. And now as I get to the lower temperatures, I'm just going to do a little bit of plenishing, and then we're going to go in for another heat. So I'm just going to continue knocking down the corners that I just made, going from that octagon to more of a round shape. So I'm doing a little bit lighter blows than what I was before, but these still are, they still have some weight behind them. And here I'm just cleaning up that top of that taper. So now on this heat, I'm going to lighten up my blows quite a bit and do more rapid blows. And I'm going to constantly be turning the steel to try and get that as round as possible. I'm not trying to move a lot of steel here, that's why the light blows. Just do a little bit straightening. Try and get that tip back down to center. So here, just straightening out the back end of the chisel, or I should say the punch, sorry. And I think we're good with that. So we're going to do a normalization cycle with the round punch now. So we're just going to bring it up to heat, and then we're just going to leave it on top of our forge to cool down in the air. This is very important. This relieves any stress that we might have put in the steel when we're forging, as well as it softens it so we can actually file. So here with the square punch, I'm just filing off the top so it can get a nice flat. And now I'm just going to go to the sides and
clean up any little bit of, you know, a little roughness from the forging. So any hammer marks and stuff. Now we move on to the round punch. So here we're just going to take our file, and with a sweeping motion around it, we're just going to take any of that roughness that we left in when we tried to round it. This just basically smooths it off. Now, if you do have a belt grinder, you can definitely just run this over the top of the belt grinder, and it will be a lot faster than doing a file. But here, we're going to just do it with a file. Now I decided that the tip was a little bit smaller than I want. Kind of want to go for a 1/4 inch with this one. So I'm just going to grab a piece of 1/4 inch steel, and I'm just going to mark where, I'm just going to eyeball it basically where it looks like the taper comes through a 1/4 inch. Going to grab my grinder and just zip off that tip. And now I'm just going to grab the file just to clean up any burrs that I might have left with this. So now we're ready for the heat treat. So this is the same thing I did with my center punch. So we're just going to bring it up to critical temperature, which is when it stops being magnetic. I'm really close here, so I'm just going to put it in for 5 seconds more, and then I'm going to quench it. Now, last time I used the brick to clean off any scale so I can see the colors of the temper. This time I'm just using a piece of sandpaper. So we basically just want to clean it off so we can get it back down to bare metal. And then I'm going to watch the colors go up. And I'm going to try for a yellow straw color right near the tip. And here I'm just trying to cool down as much as I can. And this one I'm actually just going to leave in the oil while I wait for the square punch to heat up in the forge. I actually didn't show you the heat treat for the square punch because I figured once is enough for this video. And here's our 2 punches finished. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and if you want to help out the channel, there's a bunch of links down below, like my Etsy shop. Definitely would like the support.